Well, thanks for thanks for interviewing me today, Greg. Hi, y'all, and welcome to a new episode of Talkin With Taylor. Today, I am joined by Kansas City community leader Greg Reid, who's a member of the Starlight Theatre board. And today, we are here to talk about a really wonderful program here at Starlight called the Vincent Legacy Scholarship. Thanks for joining me, Greg.
Glad to be here, Taylor.
So tell me a little bit about yourself for our audience.
Sure. Well, I came to Kansas City in 1997. So probably before you were born, right? No, probably not.
I was somewhere.
You're somewhere, okay.
I don't know where,
yeah.
I don't remember.
And I came from San Francisco, so I always joke with people that I came here right after Joe Montana, but I made a bigger impact than he did. So, and I've been here ever since and love it, and this is now home.
Yeah. Well, tell me how you got involved with Starlight.
Yeah, when I joined the company that recruited me here, they were talking to me about opportunities for board participation, and they laid out several for me, and I saw the one that said theater attached to it, and I said, I'd like to know more about that one, the Starlight Theatre thing. I'd never been to the Starlight Theatre, didn't know anything really about it, but as I learned more about it and just was fascinated with what they were doing, I thought, if I could get on that board, that would be great. In fact, I'll pay them if they'll put me on that board.
How much did you pay?
Let's not talk terms, but anyway.
You'll show me the receipts
Yeah,
later.
exactly.
So tell me a little bit about the Vincent Legacy Scholarship
Sure.
and how it got started here.
Yeah, the scholarship was an idea that had kicked around in my mind for a while. I had done some work. Vincent was my first son, and I wanted to do something in his name, and he died from sudden infant death many years earlier, and I had done some work with First Candle, which is a national organization that does work with SIDS parents. And I did that for many years. And but then along the way, I decided I would like to do something that would be even more uplifting and still be able to sort of recognize and honor my first son. And so the idea of a foundation, it came along, and I decided, because I was serving on the board, the Starlight board at that time, that I might like to talk to the then CEO, Bob Roth, about ideas he might have on how I could set up a foundation and really begin to help kids, because I wanted to do some work with middle school kids, because they're such an important age at that point where you can shape and mold them, and they just seem limitless in terms of their desires and aspirations. And so I thought, that's a perfect year. And so I had this conversation with Bob. I asked him to meet me at a Starbucks one time, and we just sat down and talked about it, and he gave me great ideas on how to set it up and things like that. But one idea he threw out, which I had just no warning he was going to propose this, is he said, now this is the way I constructed, etc., but if you would like to do this and really get started, how about letting Starlight do it with you? And I was floored and flabbergasted and said, you would consider something like that? And the rest is kind of history. So Starlight rolled up their sleeves and got involved with me and took what was my original idea and helped shape it and mold it and put some of the structural underpinnings that were necessary to really make it viable. So that's how we got started.
Yeah. The program is over 10 years strong. You've had some amazing scholarship winners. Tell me what you look for in a student who is coming forward to you.
Well, that's a great question. The program, actually, I think we're in our 14th year.
Wow.
Yeah, so let's not lose those years.
Sorry. I tend to forget. And after a decade,
Well,
it's like,
yeah, well, you should forget. I should be the one that's forgetting. But anyway, what was the question?
So what is it you look for in a candidate?
Well, we look for that desire and that motivation, more than we look for raw talent. This is, I think, an appropriate analogy, but Southwest Airlines, which has always been recognized as one of the top airlines, they talk about hiring people not so much on their skills, but on their personalities.
Yeah.
And that if they get the right personalities in place, then they can teach them the other things. These kids, you can just see it in their eyes, the gleam, the desire to be more than what they could ever imagine is somehow imprinted in them. And so we want to try to find them and help to bring that out. And you look fundamentally for a young person who's doing their best and trying hard. It has a compassion for the communities that they live in or work in, they live in, or their parents work in. And it's just sort of that desire, I think, is the thing we look for.
Yeah, and you've had some really, really successful scholars. I mean, any great stories you want to share?
Well, yeah, there's several. 2006, when we started, we had 2 scholars, and we were going to do 2 scholarships a year. And Betsy and Courtney are their names, and they started with us in 2006. Well, Betsy's now a registered nurse, and Courtney is the very first of our scholars to actually perform as a paid dancer on the Starlight stage, having done a production of Hairspray this past season. And so that's been just a tremendous way of seeing how the program has grown and the young people that are in it. And it doesn't matter whether it's been in the performance arts or in other fields of endeavor. And one of our other scholars, Kaylin Allen, has become sort of a regular on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Yeah.
And you know, there's so many others to talk about, but it's just great being not just involved with the kids and when they started the program, but being involved with their families along the way. So we've gotten to know so many families. They've kind of become extensions of our family, and it's just, it's great.
Yeah,
it really is.
And you kind of come together once a year. You have a really wonderful reunion. Everybody gets to kind of see where they're at. They become a family really together as everyone from year to year.
Yeah, that's a great point. I get a little selfish and I say, well, they're all part of our family, but they get connected and they become a part of each other's family. And so they start getting in contact with each other behind the scenes and sharing ideas and things that they're doing that have helped them. We always try to bring some of the older scholars back and let them talk into the lives of the younger scholars and tell them about the challenges that they may face and how you overcome those things and their own experiences. So that's always really, really helpful. We found over the years that it's less about what we say. Let the kids talk. Let them share their experiences, and the young people get tremendous insight and good advice.
Yeah, it's a wonderful support system.
Yeah,
really.
it really
is. Because as you said, kind of from those middle school formative years, you still have a lot of schooling to go through.
Yeah.
And this really gives you a wonderful support system and wonderful opportunities.
For sure.
And whether you go into the performing arts or not, I mean, Betsy, who you mentioned from 2006, from the very beginning, she's a nurse now, but she credits this as something that gave her such wonderful confidence and professional, skills to go out there into the world. So I think that it's a really wonderful opportunity.
It is. You don't have to choose the performance arts. 2 of the scholars that came back and spoke at this year's holiday event, one I swear is going to be a president of the United States. He's just an amazingly talented young man. And the other young lady is in New York, and she's in law school. And so it's just amazing how we've been able to impact these kids' lives and not change their life per se, but just, we used to have these 3 words that were part of the foundation of the program, and I still really believe it matters. That is, we're there for hope, encouragement, and support. If we can give them the kind of encouragement they need, give them some financial support, particularly at a pivotal time, but just really sort of be there to sort of encourage that hope that they have, that aspiration to do great things or whatever they want to do with their lives. We want to be right there with them along that journey. And so that's been just a tremendous thing for us.
Absolutely. So let's talk about kind of the qualifications it takes to apply for the scholarship. It's actually a wide variety of things. They don't have to be specifically a singer or desire to be an actor. You have a puppeteer in your
We have
your
an
catalog.
Outstanding puppeteer who should be, on the Jim Henson show, where I guess they don't have a show anymore, but he should be part of that at some point in time. He's amazingly talented. We just saw him perform recently. He's outstanding. So yes, you don't have to be a singer or a dancer, the traditional kinds of things. So we have extended, if we see that gleam in their eyes that I was talking about earlier and that just desire to achieve, we can find a spot for you and give you additional instruction that would potentially help you in your selected endeavors.
Absolutely. It's a process to apply, but it's so worth it.
We ask that they have at least B, maintain a B grade point average, but most of our kids are in with A's, but you got to have the entry point as at least a B. To have at least demonstrated or conducted or done some community service work is helpful as well. You have to good attendance, really getting to school and making sure that you're present. Being there is half the battle in any life endeavor, right? So we look at those kinds of things, and then of course whatever your talent is. You get through the qualifications, initial qualifications, then you're invited into an audition that occurs at Starlight, in which you are auditioning against a number of other kids. And it's a great, even if you don't win, the experience of auditioning is tremendous and a very valuable foundation for the next time. We've had kids that have come back and re-qualified for another year and then won a scholarship. So the first time out doesn't necessarily mean that you are not successful if you don't get a scholarship, because you can come back if you get through the qualification process. And then ultimately, if you're selected, and last year we gave away 4 scholarships. We started giving away 2 a year. We've now been fortunate to give 4, thanks to the generous support of Kansas City Royals and some other people that have come on board with us. You get to go up on stage and actually be presented in the Starlight Theatre, and that's a tremendous experience also, because the kids get to look out and see a full house.
Absolutely.
And think about what it would be like to be in that position one day. And that in and of itself is inspirational. So,
absolutely. So what, for a parent or a teacher that's watching our interview, what advice would you give them to encourage their student or child or grandchild that has this kind of gleam in their eye?
All these kids have at least one family member, and oftentimes more than one, that really is supporting and encouraging them. So we would suggest that if they have talents, or you believe they have some talent, or they want to try and develop their talents, to work with the schools that they're in, because most of the schools offer music programs and other kinds of things that can help them to develop those skills. We've actually been blessed to get to know some of the school systems and some of the administrative people in those systems who are now looking for kids who could be perfect candidates for us. So talk to your school, talk to the people that are doing that kind of instruction, and see what you can do to get your son or daughter or family member into those kinds of programs, because that helps. You're also going to need ultimately a teacher or administrator to write recommendations and things like that, so you want to get to know them as well.
Absolutely. And encourage them to apply by what date?
By the 29th. I think the final, the deadline is the 29th of March.
Yes.
So got to get those applications and get that processing done. And if you have any questions about it, just go online to kcstarlight.com or call the Kansas City Starlight Theatre.
Yes.
You probably know that number better than I do.
I think it's in my phone.
Okay.
Well, thanks for talking with me
Hey,
today.
thank you. I feel like I've arrived. I finally got to talk with Taylor. That's cool.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Talkin with Taylor. For more videos like this, follow us on social media at KC Starlight and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/KC Starlight. To learn more about the Vincent Legacy Scholarship Program or to apply, visit kcstarlight.com.